Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Ask an Expert, the Power of Social Media. Please be advised that we will be recording the session, so we want to let attendees know that any questions you ask in the chat function will also be recorded. My name is Sarah Bentham, and I'm the director with the Henry Bernick Entrepreneurship Center, and I'm going to be the moderator for this morning's session. But first, I'd like to lead with the Indigenous land acknowledgement. I wanted to acknowledge that I am situated currently on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people. The Anishinaabe include the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. As an ecosystem, we are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. We acknowledge the great contributions that our First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people have made in the areas of innovation and entrepreneurship, being the first to do so in this area. I also wanted to share the great respect for the great work being done in the present day as well. On behalf of Accelerate Her and our founding partners, the Sandbox, the City of Barrie, the Town of Innisfil, and HBEC, where I live, I wanted to thank the county for this opportunity to moderate on our behalf. Accelerate Her was created, I'm going to say 3 years ago, and what it did was brought together a group of people that were dedicated to focusing on the gaps in the resources and supports that existed in this area for entrepreneurs and business leaders that identify as women. This brings to you Accelerate Her Network with monthly events like this, where we can connect and get to know each other better. Accelerate Her Skills, which is like what you're going to take part in today with Nat and Ange. Accelerate Her Support with access to mentors that identify as women. And Accelerate Her Story, which is increasing the visibility of women in business. And I think we can all feel that feeling where you can't be what you can't see. And so it's our job to make sure that we're all visible, especially to the younger folks that are coming up. In addition to these pillars that this group has created, we also wanted to use this as an opportunity to address the needs of our community and to discuss openly what those needs are and how we might go about implementing solutions. As we reintegrate, consider who's not at the tables that you sit at and how collectively we can ensure that we are bringing others with us. Reintegration and belonging has been on my mind a lot lately. And one of the reasons that we established, Accelerate Her. I want you to know that there is a place for you at all of these events and the others that we and our partners put on. And I also wanted to shout out to our partners at the Sandbox Center. I had an opportunity to attend one of my first in-person events there last week. And what struck me as I left that event, it is a kindness-centered organization, but they have truly created an inclusive environment. And where you walk in the door, you would feel a sense of belonging. What I noticed is this can be a life raft as we reintegrate into in-person interactions. The work that we do at Accelerate Her is something that we do all year, not just during the month of March. And in light of that, I invite you to check out the upcoming Chamber of Commerce Awards and other events that really celebrate the work that we are all doing. Also, a shout out to all of you that were nominated for those awards. I am actually really excited about that event. I don't know what I'm going to wear. So now on to my moderator duties, which I'm really excited to do. The Planning Committee and the Ask an Expert series is led by our amazing partners at the County of Simcoe. Over the last 2 years, we've been able to bring organizations throughout the county some excellent content as you navigate the current environment. I encourage you to keep an eye out for future webinars. We have a lot of great content coming your way soon. Also, thank you to the regional partners who have assisted with these webinars. The Small Business Center, Barrie, Simcoe County, and Orillia, the South Georgian Bay Small Business Enterprise Center, Orillia Area CDC, Nottawasaga Futures, North Simcoe Community Futures Development Corporation, Community Futures South Georgian Bay, the Sandbox Center, and us at the Henry Bernick Entrepreneurship Center, which is based out of Georgian College. Prior to today, several of you shared questions with us. Thank you for doing that. These were provided to our guest experts, and many of the responses have been incorporated into their presentation. However, we're also hoping to have an opportunity for questions during the demonstration as well as at the end of the session. So if you have a question during the presentation, please type it into the chat function. You will find the chat button at the bottom of your screen. We will address as many questions as we can at the end of the presentation. It's my pleasure to have the opportunity to facilitate today's session on the power of social media. We have an excellent presenters and experts with us today, and they're going to share the steps and considerations that you can take as you plan strategically with this in mind. Okay, so a little bit about our presenters. I'm like, try not to be too anecdotal. I'm going to read off the script. Nat Karen is a brand photographer. She started her career in photography in June of 1999 and has been running her photography business in studio since September of 2002. After 10 years of solely working in the wedding and portrait industry, she began to work more and more with commercial clients in hopes of getting her weekends and, truthfully, her life back. After her third son was born in 2015, she knew that weddings and portraits would have to take a backseat to her new love and passion in commercial and business clients. It was a tough decision because Nat loves love. Oh, I can't wait for you to meet her if you haven't already. And those wedding couples became very special to her, but she truly loves seeing businesses grow. And a business growing meant also watching those individuals grow in their lives. It truly changes people's lives, and she saw them embrace pride and joy. The clients learned that they had control of their own time and their life. And lastly, their wealth grew, which meant watching them give back to their community. Nat felt that this was beautiful to watch this cycle, and knowing that she could help more people by helping them with social media workshops, teaching them photography, how to grow their audiences and clientele. She also knew that being part of an online community and podcast meant being able to spread that education farther. Now to Ange. Angela Swan-Doyen is a social and photography stylist. Ange's start in business began like many others. First, a 25-cent lemonade stand, and eventually upgrading to handmade bracelets for $1. At one point, there were homemade cakes for sale, but Angie Baby Cakes never quite took off, and it made one hell of a mess in her kitchen. But one thing was clear. Ange had a keen business sense, a creative marketing talent, and passion for people. With over 13 years of combined marketing, social media, and event and wedding planning experience, she realized that she could merge her marketing talents with her creative eye for style and design a business that helps others with their visual marketing strategy. Many of her earliest childhood photos show her rocking a microphone, so it was only fitting that she now be the co-host of the 5-star rated podcast, Instagram for Business with the Social Focus. In her spare time, she loves to travel, sip good wine, watch old Oscar acceptance speeches, and spend time with her beautiful son and husband. I can also say that both of these women love to laugh, love to have a lot of fun. And I know that today you're going to have a fabulous time with them. And most importantly, take away really, really applicable skills for the future. So with that, I invite Ange and Nat on stage.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
What a nice introduction. Thank you.
So nice. Absolutely. All right.
I'm going to share my screen.
I guess we don't really need to do our bio.
No.
Our introductions. I so wish I could hear everyone talking right now and hopefully even laughing while we're presenting. Because we do like to laugh. So we'll just laugh at each other.
We'll just, wow, we usually do.
We usually do. Thanks so much, Sarah, for that introduction. We appreciate it.
Yeah. We're very excited for today. As Sarah mentioned, we are going to be talking about your social strategy. We're leaning into a little bit more of Instagram, but we will touch base on a few other components. I know, I don't even know what else to say about myself.
Well, we did start our business 2 years ago. In fact, we started our podcast on March 3rd of 2020. Insert pandemic. And lots had changed after that. But yeah, and actually we have changed our podcast name to The Social Focus. We kind of went back to our roots. And if you're looking for it and would like to tune in, yesterday's episode was awesome, if we don't say so ourselves.
We're very humble.
It's what I feel like it's one of our favorite or best episodes recently.
Yeah,
but I'm not Karen. Oh, I'm not Karen. And this is Ange Swan-Doyen. We didn't practice the introduction portion.
No,
so we're going
we
to actually
didn't.
talk about what we do.
Yeah. We love what we do. And like Nat said, we have our podcast. So every Tuesday we do put out an episode. We have strategized together, not only in our podcast, we have grown an online community helping businesses flourish with their services and their products. We have new offerings coming this spring. We love being surrounded by other entrepreneurs, hearing their stories and just really developing strategies so that it doesn't feel like a ton more work, that it's done with ease. Social media specifically can be just another kind of thing to do. So we're all about that strategy and time. So that's really the message we hope that can come across today. So our overview of why your social strategy matters, because yes, it is work and it takes time, but it is important. So we're going to lay it down into first impressions. So more importantly, being very specific on the technical side of your bio, as well as message strategy and imagery. Of course, with Instagram, everything's very visual, and that can cross-platform over onto TikTok, Pinterest. The importance of video. If you are on social, you will probably see that there's a lot more video content out there. A lot of these social media platforms are heavily investing in more video content. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And as Sarah mentioned, some Q&A. We want to make sure that we can answer your questions so that you leave here feeling really fulfilled and that you learned something and ready to put more strategy into your social media.
So we're going to talk about Instagram bios to start off. And when we say, when we're talking about Instagram, this can be implemented into LinkedIn. I mean, obviously, if many of you have jumped into the Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook world, or TikTok for that matter, Pinterest, whatever it is, you should be updating your bio on an ongoing basis. So number one is that your bio is your first introduction to your audience. And when somebody lands on your page, whether again, it's on Pinterest, whether it be on LinkedIn, wherever it is, they need to know why they want to follow, why they want to engage, why they want to actually get to know a little bit more about your business. So having a really great bio is key. It's a way to introduce who you are and what you do and how you can assist them. What is it in it for them? What's going to actually be beneficial for them? And it is a tool to keep your current audience up to date. So if you have something new that's coming up, if you have changed anything in your business, this is a place that you can ultimately let them know on an ongoing basis. And we actually usually tell people to do this at least a few times a year to kind of look at it. Even if you don't want to change it, just look at your bio, have it in your calendar to look at all your bios and make sure that you are updating that on an ongoing basis.
And then what to include in your bio. So just to kind of segue a little bit further. So when we talk about that offer and who it's for, just being really clear, because, and someone, if they find you through a post or referred or someone shared your stuff, but they end up on your profile, those first few lines are really important. So being very, very clear of what it is. So asking yourself, if someone landed here and they will ask, am I in the right place? Those first few lines should answer that question, as well as a call to action. So where do you want them to go next? They've landed on your profile. Do you want them to click the link in the bio? Do you want them to follow along for more X, Y, Z? That's really important to just have some type of call to action. And what Nat was saying, when we talk about updating your bio and keeping it relevant, usually it's the call to action is one of those first things that can change as you go through certain seasons. As an example, like for Nat and I, when we're launching a new program offering, that's usually join this program, click link in bio, or now it's download our latest freebie or new offering. So that's kind of an example there. And then otherwise, including any other accolades, certifications, if you were featured somewhere, if there's even a sale that you have going on or a special offering, or any valuable or appropriate mentions. And another example for that, we are on Instagram at thesocial.focus. We also include our own handles in our bio because we are co-hosts. There's two of us. So if someone's looking for a little bit more information on what it is we do, they can find us there as well.
Okay, and in regards to your link, this is something that you can create if in particular to Instagram, if you have a business account or a creator account, you can add a link right in there. And you could just have your website. That's pretty simple, but there's also some applications that you can use like Linktree, Milkshake. If you have a specific account with Canva, you can also utilize that. And what it does is it shows all the top areas on your website that people would go to. So if you have multiple different offerings. So for example, I feel like I only saw one name in this group of lovely individuals that are here today, but Tamara is with us today from Bliss. And so, for example, if you had a sale on with your swimsuits, it's swimsuit season or something like that. That could be like the first one on your link. So you could just have your website, but it is really important to have multiple offerings on an ongoing basis too. So making sure that you look into this. I think that you would be really, really surprised at how many different links you could add in.
Perfect. Okay, moving into message strategy and imagery. So we've updated our bio, we're feeling fresh, we're being very clear. Now we're getting into more writing content for your captions. And so some helpful tips that we've utilized with our members is asking yourself these 3 questions. So this is just really going to summarize it, because we've heard a lot of talk about, what do I write in my captions? I'm not really sure what to do. And the number one thing that we've noticed where there's that shift and that little switch is speaking directly to your dream client. So who is it that you're hoping to connect with? Who is your dream client? So that's kind of a little bit of work on the side you can also do. If whatever your service is, if you have a client that books you, or you have a customer that you're like, oh, if I could just duplicate them over and over again, that would be amazing business success. Make sure you're speaking to them. So crafting your caption to them. Number 2, what's in it for them? We can sometimes, when we start, typing it out or putting it in the caption, we sometimes can lose sight of what is it. We can share. I think it's important to share a lot about, how we got started and a little background behind the scenes, things like that. But what is in it for them? So when we ask that, think about, how can this help? What do they need to know? What is the problem? And I'm going to give you the solution. So that's what we talk about, is what's in it for them. That's giving really good tangible information, because of course, number 3, would they engage with this post? So that kind of segues in that education. Maybe ask them a question, or share with this, or what's the biggest struggle? So whatever that call to action that you'd like them to do, whether it's like, share, save, comment, send you a DM, click the link in bio, to learn more. Crafting that message and that caption to understand, is this something that I would engage? Is this engaging? Is this an offering? So just keeping those 3 questions in mind, we find is a really nice way to start, and thinking about every time where you go to put not pen to paper, but thumbs to text on your captions.
Okay, so 4 ways to write better captions. We always talk about starting with a hook, so that you can, like the idea of being a fisherman and reeling them in. Okay. We want to make sure that first line is going to draw attention. So one thing that you can do is having some sort of like little emoji in there is a good idea to kind of grab that attention, but having a line that's like, I was so embarrassed to share this, or
want to know
oh my
a
gosh,
secret?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, I've never shared this before. Those type of lines can get people to, like, what happened in the bathroom this morning with my husband? Like those.
Oh, that's a goodie.
I've never used that, but but those type of lines can actually help to get people to then go into the caption, the remaining of the caption. And remember that specifically on Instagram, you only see the first top 2 lines of your caption. So you want people to press that, that more button. You want them to get more engaged with it. So telling them something relevant that affects them. Remember that the caption is not written to be about you. Yes, you can share stories about yourself, but this is to essentially get some sort of back and forth, some sort of engagement, make people feel connected to you. And using keywords that you know that people will search for is really important too. Keywords are a big part of the social media platforms now. So whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on LinkedIn, any of these platforms, you need to understand your keywords, because this is how you're going to get way more views on any of your posts. It's the same thing as your SEO for your website. You want to know your keywords on your website so that more people will find you on Google. It's the same idea with the keywords inside of your caption. And then lastly, number 4 is don't forget the opportunity. So when they finish reading, what's next? We want some sort of call to action. We want to ask them a question or give them some opportunity to engage back, something that they're going to again, feel connected to you, but also have an opportunity to create some sort of community with them. So this back and forth, but there can be a very, very simple call to action. It can be something where, yes, they're going to comment back, but it could just be asking somebody to double tap. People forget to like things often nowadays. I don't know why it's stopped over the last few years, but people aren't double tapping. They're not sharing. So asking somebody to share or asking them to head over to your website. Maybe you have something new on your website. Can you go check it out? Having that call to action is so important to help the algorithm grow your platform, or sorry, your site. It's really, really important. Otherwise, any of these sites, if we're talking about Instagram is not going to know that this is valuable content if other people are not engaging with it. I felt bullying at the end of that. Goodness.
And so, of course, accompanying with captions, I will also say all of that in that last slide can also be translated over, like, let's say Reels. So the same idea, like hook, first thing, kind of text over top, still keeping in mind those keywords, the call to action. So I probably should have put that in there, but just as an example, that can also translate over to any video content. But why is imagery important? So again, specifically with Instagram, but the same thing, Pinterest is a very visual platform. Imagery is really important because it catches their eye and it keeps their attention. So really, when we're scrolling through Instagram, it's the Insta, it's like those are those quick moments. So having clear imagery is really important because it's storytelling, right? It's the first thing that we see. So it should be relevant, whatever that caption is, those two should be going hand in hand because it also it's a first impression, right? So we're just going to show a few examples of a little bit of a before and after. This is a local entrepreneur here in Simcoe County. And this is one of our members actually who took our program over the last year. Wonderful, wonderful entrepreneur, handcrafted wood pieces. He's an incredible woodworker from Pompous Box Wood Co. So I'm just looking over just some of the feed that he was sharing, some beautiful imagery showing off his craft, his workmanship. But when we talk about that visual strategy and that storytelling, the middle portion is an example of just making some switches. So showing some pieces, showing some product. If you'll notice on the first screen on the left, there's not much people to that lifestyle, that connection. So implementing a little bit more of that, a little bit more brighter imagery, but a nice kind of variety is what we mean where imagery is important. We want to storytell. So even like the top photo, it's a little bit difficult to see here, but it's a dining table with lots of food and there's a bottle of wine on it. Like that caption, I believe he spoke about, imagine having this like custom furniture that suits your needs to gather the family around the table. Like that's what we're talking about when we're merging imagery with storytelling.
Can I also mention one other thing about his account too? If you go back, Ange, or can you go back? I don't know if you can.
I
can. Knowing your audience was a big part of this conversation we had with him.
Great
on
point.
The left side, we don't really know who he's talking to. He said very specifically that he wants to be able to communicate more with women, with interior designers, with those individuals who are purchasing handmade products like this. And the left-hand side doesn't really communicate that as much to that specific audience. So making that little shift has made a big difference in his business, huge difference, to the point where he's now doubled his business in the last year and a bit. So that's really, really awesome.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because you're absolutely right. It was going into that workmanship, that woodworking side, and we're like, we need to bring a little more femininity. So we just sprinkled our little feminine fairy dust for but he's killing it. He's killing it. Do you want to go ahead with this?
Sure, I'll talk about this one. So on the left-hand side, this is our good friend, Natalie Scott, who is a coach, a lifestyle coach, business coach. And what's interesting about the left-hand side, is that they're very similar looking. But what was happening on the left-hand side was the imagery that she was sharing. Again, there were selfies. They were not very professional. She needs to come across, and she knows this based on, you know, how she has grown in the last few years, that she needs to come across as a little bit more polished. Funny enough, that was her whole business name, was Polished. That's so funny. But what she found was that taking it up to that more, again, like storytelling imagery versus just here's a selfie of me, or here I am in the lake with, although I kind of like the unicorn floaty.
We'll have to incorporate that in a future shoot.
Yeah, I kind of dig that.
If not for my own fun.
There you go. But just having some like more professional imagery that actually tells a story. So her laughing, her with the skis in the background with this like amazing fire pit outside in the wintertime, her with the light, like actually showing off her little family as well, and showing off, you know, her resting. She talks about all of these things, and to be able to have that imagery, to be able to tell the stories of who she is and why it's important to work with her is key. I think that that's one part that often people miss, is they don't want to show up and show their face very often. I know Ange and I have like, Ange is so good at it. I have like really had to push into it, but we do it and people love it. And people do feel more connected to us when we do show our faces more. Okay, tools that will help. So if we're talking about imagery here, we know that we want to up it. We want to level up here. Making sure that you have great lighting. So like a ring light or a strip light, which is essentially the same thing as a ring light, but it's LED and it's just one long light. Having something like that, just Amazon, there's tons of them on Amazon you can purchase. Having a tripod, if you're using your phone, which is your camera, probably, most of you are using your phone camera. Having a tripod, which again is very inexpensive to purchase on Amazon, having that ready so that you can make your reels, so you can make your photos, it will make a huge difference to be able to have that ready to go. The auto tracker is really cool. So what it is if you're doing any videos of yourself moving, so for example, if you are a yoga teacher, I don't know if there's any yoga teachers here, but just as an example, if you were a yoga teacher, you could actually show like the auto tracker would actually move with you. So as you are, you know, moving into downward dog or upward dog, it will actually move with you. So it tracks you. Having a big bin of props, that's Ange's thing, but a big bin of props of things that are on brand for you is a great thing to help as far as the tools to go. And then of course, editing. So editing your photos afterwards will take your images from good to great. It's such a small little thing that will literally take you 30 seconds. Once you get the hang of it, 30 seconds to edit a photo. You can use systems like Snapseed, which is a free Google app, or Lightroom, and you can purchase some presets, or you can get free presets even.
Makes all the difference. Okay, we're going to move into the importance of video, because video is here to stay. If you've noticed, TikTok, especially with Instagram, all the features, it's something that if you haven't started implementing from a social strategy level, we're hoping that this will convince you. So more than 99% of people who use video for marketing say they'll continue using video in 2022. 2/3 of marketers, so 66%, will either increase or maintain their spend on video, and 88% of people would like to see more video from brands in 2022. So that's an increase from last year. So these are, you know, important things to understand, that I don't want to use the word compete or competition, but other similar brands and businesses in your industry, if they're already adapting to video, then there could be something to say that you might be a little bit behind. And video doesn't have to be overcomplicated. In fact, some of the best video that is out there is just content shot from a phone, because it's relatable, it's in the moment. So we don't want to make it feel like you have to get a videographer to do everything to make it clean, picture perfect, and like 100% professional. That's not what we're saying, but just dabbling into video is going to make a big difference in the strategy for your business.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I can watch somebody pour candles all day long.
Oh, or those epoxy table, like, oh right? My God, or the cake
It doesn't
videos.
need to be any videos of you dancing and pointing. That's the fear. The fear always starts with people thinking that they need to be pointing and dancing and doing all these things, or doing like the voiceovers. You don't have to do that. That doesn't need to be the case here. So getting started with video, we're talking about reels, we're talking about stories, video posts, and going live on Instagram. So all of those features are very familiar with all of the different platforms, whether you're making YouTube videos, whatever it is, making sure that you have some sort of great ability to make it. It's really just on your phone. And what Anne said, like, as far as the, hiring a videographer, it does not need to be that way. It's actually, the platforms actually favor mobile devices. So yes, sometimes it's like, you know what, I just want to hire somebody to do this. Fine, if you have the ability to be able to do that, great. However, you don't need to. Actually, I should talk about stories a little bit more too. You can leave it on here, it's fine.
Yeah.
But stories is one of the most underutilized areas. You literally just hold up the phone and talk to it. Talk about your day, talk about what happened that day, talk about the products that you have on hand, talk about the new services that you're providing, or even an issue that maybe a customer or client had and how you resolved it. So going on for 15 seconds is so simple and a way for people to feel more connected to you. Okay, benefits of Instagram Reels or Facebook Reels, because they're the same now, or TikTok. TikTok's very different. We'll not talk about TikTok. We will not go there. They really do have a very long lifespan, and they can go up to 4 weeks. In fact, what we have even noticed within our community is someone will message us and say, why did my reel fail? It was like 2 days ago, and they said, oh, I only got like 500 views on it, or whatever the case may be. Within a couple of days, now it's like over 1,000, and it's growing and growing and growing, and it grows up to 4 weeks long. So that's the biggest difference. If you're posting something to Instagram, it's going to be viewed for about maybe 2 to 3 days, versus a reel that's going to be out there for up to 4 weeks. That's incredible. So obviously it can spread awareness of your brand, and the opportunity to land and on the explore page is huge. That's really where we want to end up, so that we can get in front of new people, increasing the engagement for your followers as well. And it showcases your brand's personality. Really, really important to showcase your personality, because people are buying from people. That's what we do. We want to connect with who it is. I mean, those big brands, even still, like when I think about buying, I want to buy Spanx only because of Sarah. Like, that's it. Sarah Blakely is an amazing role model for women. And that's the only reason I want to buy them, is because I want to be more connected. Because she's incredible. Yeah. Maybe it'll make me incredible if I put on her Spanx.
Your magic Spanx.
And then obviously the multi-purpose content across other platforms as well is really important too.
So some helpful tips, very similar to creating imagery, but specifically for Reels. Trending audio is really helpful. So those ones that have really picked up, when you're opening up specifically in Reels, you'll see at the bottom, like if you're scrolling through other people's Reels, at the bottom where you see the audio, Instagram, and this is how we know that Instagram is pushing video. They're making it easier for people to find the trending audio. Now there's like a little arrow they've put beside the audio. So that's a nice thing to know. That's trending audio. Trying different things out could be helpful. So transitions, kind of putting yourself, piecing it together, recording in different spots, just kind of keeping it interesting. Same thing, tripods. So it's not like Blair Witch Project kind of reels. We don't want people to feel nauseous. Same thing, good lighting. If it's too dark, it's not going to perform well. It's an absolute fact. Having very good lighting. But of course, number one, video that is relevant to your business and audience. Cannot stress this enough. An example is, well, two things. One, if let's say you sell services, it's coaching services, and all you share about is like dogs. And dogs are great, unless you can incorporate that into how you operate your business. That's one thing. Or let's say you sell Spanx and all you share dog videos. That's a disconnect. Those dog videos might go perform incredibly well, but that doesn't mean that it's going to translate into the correct followers and people connecting with you. And, we have that example of one of our members who had a video go viral, but it had nothing to do with her business. So it was, you could get 10,000, 100,000, a million views on a Reels, but if people aren't, engaging, following along, and it has nothing to do with what your actual offering is, it's kind of just a vanity metric, right? And so also, like, second to that, it's great to look at the views because it does give you that opportunity to really expand your reach, but still being mindful of the insights of the engagement. So do people comment? Like, was it enough? Was there that call to action, getting people engaged? Views are fantastic, but really hitting the hammer on the head would be, getting those likes and those comments and people actually clicking over to your profile and hopefully following or connecting. So just really want to highlight that the video is relevant to your business and what your audience is looking for from you.
Here's a good example of the dog situation, because we talked about this when we did the realtor course. There was this wonderful realtor up in North Bay who she wants to incorporate her dogs into more of her content. And we're like, yeah, you absolutely can. It can't be everything because people still need to see the homes that you're selling, but you can talk about how you are pet friendly. You can talk about, removing the fur off the sofa before you leave your house when someone's coming to see your home. Or we talked about something else, but we won't talk about that right now.
We won't talk about the backyard stuff.
The backyard cleanup situation. All right, so that's it. We are going to be going into Q&A in a minute. However, just so all of you know, if you head over to our website and you click on the freebies tab, there's a bunch of really great resources and offerings there that are completely free for you. We have the 50 Reels ideas that we recently just put together. We have a Reels checklist. We have a 10 ways that you can repurpose one piece of content. Tons of great stuff on there. So if you want to head over there after this, you're welcome to. Again, it's all free for you.
Yeah.
Q&A. I already saw a question come up in the box, in the chat box.
Oh.
So Sarah, do you want us to do that, or do you want to take care of that? I wasn't sure. Oh, there's another one. All right. I'm going to answer. I guess we're going to answer them live. I don't know. We've never done it this way. Answer live. Is that right?
Sure.
I don't know what that does, Sarah. I hope you're around to answer, but I have a client that does a lot of things: speaker, free downloads, articles, etc. What is the best way to determine what call to action is best?
I'm back, and sorry.
That's okay.
I don't know if anyone else has a snow day, but we have humans in this house that require things, but I'm back.
When it says answer live, what are we doing there?
You just have to answer the question no.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. Wonderful. Instead of typing the answer. Okay. Do you have any thoughts, Ange, about some call to actions for somebody who does speaker, free downloads, and articles? I wish I knew more information about that.
I feel like I can maybe provide some context.
Okay.
So my understanding is that their client does like thought leadership similar to what you do. And they also have things similar to you do, like where you can have, access a podcast or free downloads or the articles that you've created or the blog posts. And so when you were describing the call to action, what's the best thing for that? They're almost like an individual brand. What's the best thing for them to use as a call to action? Like, I mean, I kind of can hear being like, yeah, download my free article, but like, what is the best thing to really start to drive the, I guess, like for people to like subscribe to what they're saying and then just keep coming back for more?
Right. A few things. Call to actions, they don't have to be used in every single post. We don't always need to be asking, but they should kind of go through a different rotation of what's really the highlight right now. So let's say if it's like, okay, I've just created this like download and I really want to get more subscribers on my email list. This is really what I'm pushing. So that could be something, identify what the problem is, offer the solution, and then maybe share a little bit. Like, the nicest way I think in captions is not holding anything back, but like, oh, you have to go in my bio to get everything. Share something. We're big proponents of education. Like, on our Instagram, like we share a ton, and it's like, if you'd like to learn more, we actually have like 50 more ideas for you. We've just shared 3. So I think offering something and then following up with, if you would like more, I have this available to you. Or, I mean, again, that rotation could also be, like Nat was saying, double tap, like this post if this resonated with you. That's a quick call. That's a simple, like, oh, I can do that. Sometimes we don't want to overcomplicate call to actions. Instant. So that's where we really kind of lay back. People's time is precious. Sometimes people are like, okay, yeah, I just waiting for the kids to get off the bus. I'm just got a few minutes. If it's like, tell me the worst thing that ever happened to you. Yeah, like 1, no thanks. 2,
I have no time.
I don't have time for that. So other call to actions, just a few quick examples could be, sharing your message. If you're speaking to your audience, what do you think? Are you option A, B, or C? Tell me in the comments. Cool. So that's a quick, I'm a C. So I don't have to, overthink or over explain. But
it also helps. Can I just make one other mention about that, about your audience? Like, think about how it is that you could start a conversation with somebody who needs that free download, for example. So I don't know who this individual is asking the question, but think about why they would need that free download, who that person is. Ask those questions so that eventually you can, in that comment, you can reply to their comment, but then you can also message them. It can go right into their DMs, which is a really, really great new feature that, well, it's not really that new anymore, but thinking about what it is that person, in order to get them to want to download that free downloadable.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. I like you're doing the administration.
Sorry. I don't know what to do here. I've never seen this version. So
another question came in, and it is, are there any tools that you use specifically for keywords? So like, how do you figure out what the cool keywords are, the ones that are going to bring the impact?
That's different for every single business. I don't have a tool that I use because I'm not an SEO person. Okay. But I think that if you are working with an SEO company or the person that's developing your website and you're talking about the keywords, you should be talking about having a list of those keywords on hand all of the time.
No, that's awesome. And like in the crowd, like, I mean, I think of the people that have joined us live today, there's experts in all of us. So if anyone has an answer to that question, then pop it in we're all here together sharing. So pop it into the chat.
Can I just throw in one more thing for keywords?
Yeah.
I think it's also really important. Use the words that your potential clients or your ideal customers are using. Utilizing that language. We had a great Maria Hyde, who's also local in Simcoe County. She's a local copywriter, and she was on the podcast. And one of the best takeaways was she was like, literally use their words. So if they're like, I'm struggling with XYZ, well, XYZ should be part of your keywords because they're telling you right now, that's the issue. That's the problem. That's what I'm looking for. So looking, even just searching out, those ideal clients, customers, potential on Instagram, like what's the language they're using? What are their words? And start adding that to your list as well could be really helpful.
Can I also, because there's a question that just came in that's helpful for this, using hashtags absolutely is very valuable. And those are actually used as keywords now.
Yeah. Okay.
So all the words inside of your caption, as well as the hashtags, are all used as keywords in TikTok, in Instagram, in Facebook, all of those areas. I don't know enough about the algorithm for LinkedIn, but I would assume it's similar. And the same thing for YouTube as well.
That's awesome. Oh, we have so many good questions here. I'm managing.
We could talk about hashtags all day.
That's like a whole other session. I'll come back together. Is it bad practice to post your TikTok video as a reel on Instagram? I think I've done that before. And it looked all funky.
do you want me to jump into that?
Yeah, go for it, Nat.
Okay, so it is bad practice because you have the little logo. They neither TikTok nor Instagram want you to do that. They want you to create it all there because you're also spending more time on the platform when you're making it. So they favor it, right? They favor the fonts, they favor all the different things that you're using, whether you're using the music right from even if so for example, Ange and I use InShot, which is a video making platform, but we won't use the music on there because we want to use it right from TikTok or use it right from Instagram because it will favor it.
That's cool, because there was a music question as well. And it was, the question was, how come Instagram business pages limit the music options versus your personal accounts? And the person was asking, does this happen to all business accounts? And I feel like I've seen that too, like cool stuff on my personal one that I could maybe resonate with. And then on the business side, it's like, sounds weird.
The best way to kind of summarize that is because if someone signed up as a business account, right away you've told Instagram, I'm using this platform to make money. So it's really comes down to like a rights issue. So if, as an artist, they're like, okay, you're using my music and in your stories and reels to sell your products and services to make money off of my art. That's kind of the rationale behind it. And because you've already checked, I am a business. So they just assume, yes, you are using this for business. The nice kind of way around that is the creative account. So instead of a business account, creator, also gives you all the functionality, for insights and all of that. And you typically would, most cases, someone who's had a business account and switched over to creator has been able to open up more of the music. It's different for everybody though. It's also with updates where it updates with music. So that's just something to also consider as well.
Mm-hmm. It's the same with TikTok as well. If you have a business account, yes, you can get a link to let people know, but they will not allow you to have any of the trending audio. It's really, really terrible audio for whatever reason. And we all know that the audio is a big portion of why it gets a lot more views.
Right. Michelle asked, can you explain what a hashtag actually does?
Mm-hmm. We can definitely do that. So a hashtag is, you like that, Ange?
Hashtag Cookie Monster. Hashtag nom, 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 nom.
So what it is actually, it's similar to SEO. It's the same idea as like keywords. It allows you to get found by people, again, essentially that follow those hashtags. So we follow women who podcast as a hashtag, and it will come up in our feed as a suggested post. And it's not necessarily going to show your post to more people, but if you think about who your audience is, and again, thinking about those keywords, if they are following, if you're an interior designer and they're following kitchen ideas, or if you're a specific area and you are a Barrie realtor and somebody wants to follow Barrie realtor, then of course that is going to actually help you. But utilizing hashtags is really, again, we could talk about this for literally hours. So there's so many different strategies around it. I wish I had more time to talk about it, but if you need to test it out. You need to test them out for yourself. Because what can happen is if you're using the same hashtags over and over and over again, one, Instagram thinks you're a bot. Two, it's not going to help you to get more eyeballs on you because you're using the same ones over and over again. And of course, like that's the goal, is to get in front of more people. And this is how you get in front of more people. I don't know if that makes sense, but
I like that idea though. Like if you look at some of those that you follow and just go like, oh yeah, those hashtags also apply to me. And then just kind of keep track of them or a list and then not replicate them too many times.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome. On the matter of hashtags, do you think that hashtags should go in the captions or the comments? That was another question that came in. Thank you, Kimberly.
Captions.
Okay.
Yeah. As of last year, Instagram came out and said it's very important that it actually is in the captions in order for it to be utilized and tracked as a keyword. Okay.
And is there a limit? I think there's a limit to the number of hashtags, like 29 or something.
I think it's
technically 30.
30. Okay. I don't know why 29.
But like what Nat was saying, playing with that, because some people will find really great success utilizing all 30. Some it's like that 7 to 9, some it's around 5, really testing that out. Just on that quick note, I would say if you're trying to use 30, but you're just throwing just to get to 30, not a good strategy. It would be better to have really like strong, well thought out on brand keywords, hashtags, in the 7 to 9 range, then trying like, oh, I have to get 4 more. What could I just throw in there? Not a good plan.
Mhm.
Okay, we have a cool kind of case study question that came in, and I love these because I know you guys will like start digging in. So thanks, Jessica. Jessica makes earrings for people who can't wear earrings because they have sensitive ears, but they also sell supplies to other earring makers. This means I have 2 very specific but very different people I talk to on social media. So should they only focus on one of those people, or is there a way to message both equally, or do you alternate? Like I threw that one in, Jessica.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So one is really a product and the other is a service.
Mhm.
So
Well,
one is like
supplies,
B2B and one is B2C.
Right. Interesting.
If it was me, I would have 2 accounts. I know that's
That's
not the answer she's going to want. But the reason, I don't know, Ange, what do you think? Like before I go into my reasoning.
no, that's kind of where I was going. My only other thing, one would be, I know we can't really speak to Jessica, but would be like, where's the main, I'll be blunt, income coming? Like, what's the,
Right.
like, this one pays my bills. So that could be heavily focused. But I also think specifically, without knowing too much, like the product that you're selling for that specific, I think that's great for Instagram. Maybe in the bio mentioning for wholesale or supplies, contact me here. That might be somewhere else. So of course, those, jewelry makers who might be buying from you are probably also on Instagram because that's where they're selling. So I do think being on the platform is important. But yeah, I'm kind of, that's where I almost see a split, and that's where you can, but also cross promote. So like for supplies, visit me at this handle, and then that's specific to them. Sorry, go ahead, Nat.
No, that's exactly
eyeboshed.
what I was going to say. And in regards to that, right in your bio, you can have that right there. You can have the other account so people can find you there. It doesn't mean that you have to post more, because you could post the exact same amount. Like you can be over on the earrings account, 3 or 4 times a week, and then over here on the, B2B 2 or 3 times a week. So, if you're going to be doing 7 posts anyways, I think separate it. Don't confuse your audience.
Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate that. And then also, Jessica, I hope this is okay, Nat and Ange. I remember that you did sort of like groups and programs where people can just continuously learn more from you over the course of a 6-month or 12-month period. So I don't know if you can pop that information in the chat, because I know there's lots of value to be gained around that and just this ongoing learning process. Especially you guys have like exactly, what's going to change and when it happens, and people can keep up to date on that stuff.
Sure.
There is, if
And
you're okay
are
with
you
that.
able to put it in there?
Yeah, I'll do
Or we
that.
can do that after.
I don't have my phone on me.
People to head to. Okay, so this question came in from Ruth early on, and I'm sorry, Ruth, it took me a while. What's the best way to get people to head to a website on Instagram when the URL links can't be included in the caption? That's the link tree, right?
Yeah. So Linktree, or now we can put a link in our stories. So that's a great option as well. People still hang out in stories. I do. I know I do.
I do all the time.
Yeah. And getting your viewership up in stories is really important as well. So utilizing stickers for people to be able to engage back, like a polls or that little slider or the question box, helps to get, again, it's the same thing. It's the same idea. If Instagram believes that this is valuable content, they're going to push more people to it so that they hang out on the platform longer so they can sell more in ads.
So even like if I don't have a bazillion followers, I can still put links in my stories?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that. I'm learning.
Wow.
Thanks, Ange, for popping the newest course in the chat. That's so great.
Yeah, so that's coming. So it's just a wait list. But in our link in bio as well, we also have a free webinar coming up as well, that we'll be adding in there very shortly. So
you got us hooked here. Mike asked a great question. Should I be posting according to Instagram heat maps that are available? I don't know anything about heat maps.
When you say heat maps, do you mean like through insights of like where people are?
Yeah, I think that's what he's discussing. Should I be posting according to Instagram heat maps that are available? We don't use that, but if you can be more, time to post. Yeah. So
okay.
if you, it's so different with regards to posts or reels. You need to test it out for yourself. It's going to tell you, post at, for us right now, it's telling us to post at noon. But we know that if we post a reel on Monday morning or Tuesday morning, very early, like 7:30, 8 o'clock, it's gonna explode. We know that because we've tested it out. It has to be you. It has to be your account, because think about who your people are. If your clientele, we've talked about this before many times, if your clientele is moms who pick up their kids at school, they're sitting in the parking lot for 20 minutes waiting for their kids. They're probably going to be jumping on social media, at least one social media platform during that time, or, so think about when those people are going to be on. If you are targeting people that are living in India currently, then of course you're not going to be targeting or be posting during the daytime here. In Canada, we're going to be posting via their time.
And keep in mind your insights through Instagram, it is listed in Pacific Standard Time. So you'll have to make that calculation.
Facebook is not, it's in Eastern Standard Time.
Right. Just to mess with you.
Yeah. This is amazing. There are more questions, but we've run out of time. So that just speaks to how much people are learning from you and how much more we can learn from you. And so I really appreciate that you popped in upcoming opportunities for people to stay connected and following you on Instagram and all the others. So it's my job to give closing remarks. And I wanted to say thank you to everyone for attending the session. And thank you, Nat and Ange, for providing this to us. I learned a lot, as you can know. I had lots of aha moments, even publicly. And I wanted to just share a couple of things to note before we close the session. So a survey is going to be sent by email to everybody as long as a recording of the session. So keep an eye for it and let us know what you thought. This is the power of the groups that come together like this is being informed and creating further follow-up activities that really speaks to what our community needs. And that's what we can all come together and contribute on. As well, if you're interested in hearing more from experts like Nat and Ange, information about this series can be found anytime at simcoe.ca /Ask an Expert. So again, thanks to Nat and Ange for your time and insights today. Thank you to every partner involved in making these sessions a success. And I'm wishing everybody a really fantastic rest of the day and the week. Stay safe if it's icy where you are. And thank you so much. And great to see everybody. Have an awesome, awesome day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. That was fun. Thank you.
You guys are so fun.
If any of the individuals have any other questions, please feel free to message us on Instagram. We're always there.
I'll put it in the chat box.
Yeah, thank you.